Now I do think this is another one that I am saving from the dreaded parts bin, because it has got a few things wrong with it, this Rotel, and the back of it looked really rusty in the photos. And for those of you that are always on eBay looking at hi-fi gear, you have probably seen this one, because it has been sitting on eBay for weeks and weeks, so no one wanted it. Not even me. I didn't really want it. Not at the price it was first listed for, 'cause I first see this one on eBay weeks ago, and the photo of the front of it looked really nice. So I clicked on it, and it was in the buy it now, but you could make offers. So I clicked on it, but then I looked at the pictures of the back, and all the dins and that looked really rusty. And then I read the description about it, and I just thought, no, I don't want that. That's up for far too much money. So I just left it, carried on looking elsewhere. So as you can see, the box on this one doesn't look battered. It looks like it's had an easy life in the post, this one. It doesn't look like it's been dropped or anything. That box looks good. So hopefully the amp in it will have survived okay. So I'll just put the camera on the tripod, and then let me get in now, and we'll open it up and see how bad this old Rotel is. Because with this one, the front of it looked really good, but then the back looked really knackered and rusty. That's what put me off. And also it said the bass pot hasn't worked for years, and it just spins round and round. And now it doesn't power up or do anything. It is totally dead. So the seller said he was using it for years without the bass pot working, but then a few years ago it packed up altogether and got put in the loft. And that word, the loft, is a word that I dread reading when I'm looking at what's for sale, because putting one of these old amps or receivers up in the loft for a few years really is the worst place you could ever put them. Well, other than the shed is probably the worst, followed by the loft. And just look at all this crap in here. It looks like he's put the amp in here and then emptied his bin out on top of it. I hope there's no potato peelings or old tea bags in here. Load of Sainsbury's bags. I use one of them, get rid of his rubbish. No, it will have protected it though, all this lot, but he has chucked a lot of crap in here. And I bet all this crap has come out of his loft. So that's what he's done, isn't it? He's emptied the whole contents of his loft and sent the whole lot to me. I hope the amplifier's in here and he ain't just sent me a box full of rubbish. No, it is in here, I can see it, and I have actually opened the box upside down because I am looking at the bottom of the receiver. There's just so much crap in here. Look, he sent me half of his mail, more carrier bags, and there's a ton of Sainsbury's bags underneath it. He must work for Sainsbury's and got 3 carrier bags, innit? Look, loads of them. Another one down here. He liked a Sainsbury's carrier bag. I'll use them though, they come in handy, them carrier bags. I'm always looking for a bag. So what other old crap we got in here? Night shoe box. He must have just bought himself a new pair of trainers. What are they? Has he bought a nice set of Jordans? No, they're only cheap ones. They was 35 quid. Let's get rid of the rest of that crap. Right, now I can see my amplifier. Bottom of it looks really nice on this old Rotel. No damage to the bottom of this one. Looks lovely. So let's get rid of the last of this bloke's crap. And look at all that lot. He has emptied his bin out on top of it, hasn't he? Nice old plug on it. Look at that. That's a proper old plug. 2 screws holding it on, one either side. I like that plug. That's a good plug. Oh, and there she is. And you know what? The front of it looks really good, actually. So let's put it down over there a minute. Get rid of the rest of this bloke's crap. Chuck the rest of that into the bag. Still more in here. Right, that's it. Let's chuck that out of the way. Get rid of the box. And let's have a look at my new Rotel RX-402. And the thing that is good about this one, it's got the pre-out main-in coupler on the back, so you can use this one as a preamp or a power amp. So there she is, look, Rotel RX-402. Now this one is 25 watts per channel and it's from 1974, so it's quite an old one. And just look at that front there. That front does look really good. And the cabinet, oh, it looks much better than it did in the photos. It looked really tatty on eBay. But look at it, that cabinet looks lovely. And the front, that faceplate looks well nice on this old Rotel. Yeah, it's looking good. The back's not going to look so good. It has got some lettering rubbed off there. That is the selector. So you won't know what you've got it set on, but that's not the end of the world, because I really have not paid much for this Rotel. So it's got a couple of little like scratches there at the top of the faceplate, but other than that and the lettering missing, that faceplate looks really good. Yeah, it looks nice in the black as well. I've had one of these before, but I had a silver one. I think it looks better in the black. So the tuning knob feels really good. Selector feels a bit seized up and it feels a bit loose actually. Yeah, that doesn't feel that good. Can you see that moving? Look, it's rattling about and that's like really hard to turn. Let's try them. Tape monitor. Yeah, that feels alright. Loudness button. That feels alright. High-low filter. Yeah, that feels alright. Muting. Yeah, that feels alright. So the volume pot. Yeah, that feels nice, the volume pot. Balance pot feels nice. Treble pot. Oh, and I'd forgot that. Look, it's a split pot, so you can do your balance left or right side by adjusting the back of the front of the knob. Feels alright though, that treble pot. So let's see what's going on with this dodgy old bass pot. See that? Look, it just keeps going round and round and round. So there's definitely something wrong with the bass pot. That'll probably need a new pot in that. I thought that though, when I bought this, when the bloke said the bass pot hasn't worked for ages, the knob just goes round and round and round, I just thought that pot's had it then, because I've had this before, and what happens, you might be able to fix it, it comes apart inside, like all the bits fall out of the pot, so you can take them apart and put them back together, so I will try and do that. But if that doesn't work, I'll just have to buy a new pot. That speaker too doesn't feel that good. That feels a bit grindy. Same with that on-off. That on-off is really hard to push in, then it goes. That's not right, the on-off, so it's another one with a dodgy on-off switch. Yeah, but apart from that, look at it. Looks good, don't it? That's a nice looking old Rotel, that is. And you get all the face lit up on that, 'cause it'll all light up green on this one. Get all that working again. This old Rotel's gonna look really good. So let me put the camera down and you can look at my other Rotel and my newly repaired Marantz for a little while. And I'll turn the Rotel round and then we'll have a look at the rusty old back. Right, and it doesn't look as bad, the back, actually. It don't look as bad as what it did in the photos. Whatever camera the bloke was using made it look worse. So it's got that. That is just 2 or 4 speakers, basically. Normal or quadro sound. So it's got 2 outlet switches on the back there. Got the aerial. Then you've got there, look, the pre-out main-in coupler, and it has got its links in it. Then it's got the bits there for your radio, and look, the DIN inputs. They are a bit rusty, but they don't actually look as bad as what they did in the photos. Unless the bloke's cleaned them up since taking the photos, because they are rusty. But on the computer they looked in a proper state. So they're not actually as bad as what I thought they was going to be. I reckon the back of this Rotel would clean up alright. So it will take 2 sets of speakers, and they are the 2-pin DIN connectors. And read that there. A quality product by Roland, Tokyo, Japan. So it's a quality product, this one. So yeah, it really does look in a lot better condition, this Rotel, now it is here, than what it did on the computer. I thought the back of this one was going to be really rusty and beyond help, 'cause that's how it looked. But now it's here, it doesn't actually look that bad. And it has definitely been all cleaned up before it has been sent to me, because it really does not look like the amplifier that I was looking at on the computer, because it had all cobwebs over it and everything. It looked in the right state, so it's definitely been cleaned right up, this one. Or the bloke had 2 of them, and he has not sent me the one that was in the photos, he has sent me a different one. Oh no, but it must be the same one, because he said the bass pot spins round and round, and this one does do that. So I'll turn it back round and then we'll do the measurements, because I've got my tape measure here, and it is quite big, this Rotel. Although it's not very tall, it is quite wide. It's a little bit of a beast, this Rotel, for only being 25 watts. Look, that's 18 3/4 inches wide, and let's see how deep it is. So that's like 12 inches deep. So for a 25 watt per channel receiver, it is a bit of a beast, this Rotel. It's just not very tall, look, 4.5 inches. But I like these old Rotels. I have been after one of these, because I've had one before, and they are cheap, these Rotels, ain't they? For what you get, this series of Rotel really are bargains. And this one was, because I really have not paid a lot for this. And I know if I can get this one working, it really will be a decent sounding receiver. And if you use this Rotel as a power amp, the power amp side of this Rotel is a really good little power amp, and this Rotel will also be a good preamp. The preamp side on these Rotels is a really good one. So let's do what I always do and put another amplifier down to show you how big the Rotel is. So today on top I have put a JVC AS5, and that AS5 is quite a big amplifier, and you can see that Rotel is much wider and a lot deeper. It's not as tall, but it's much wider and deeper, and it probably weighs 5 times what that JVC does, because that JVC feels like it has got nothing inside it. So as I was saying with this Rotel, these old Rotel RX series really are good to use as a preamp. If you take them couplers out and put this thing into like a modern 100 watt power amp or something like that, you will get a really good sound. You really will. Using this Rotel as the preamp with a big powerful power amp on it, these Rotels are so worth their money if you're going to use one like that. They really are. 'Cause like the old NAD receivers and that, some of them are really good preamps. But this Rotel is up there with one of them, and one of these Rotels is like half the price, if not cheaper than that. So they are good value for money, these Rotels, especially if you want like a preamp to play around with. And like I said with this one, I saw this one on eBay, but it was on there for quite a high price. The bloke wanted far too much money for this. So it was on there for weeks and weeks. And then I see it a bit later, like probably a few weeks after I'd first seen it, but the price was lower, and I thought, oh, there's one of them Rotels there. So I clicked on it and looked again, but then as soon as I see the photos of the back, I was like, oh, it's that same one that's been on there ages. It's just had the price dropped. So I still moved on, didn't think nothing of it. And then a few weeks later, I found it again at even a lower price. I see it and thought, oh, that's cheap. So I clicked on it to have a look, and then looked at the pictures and just thought, oh no, it's that one again. That's been on there ages. But I thought, you know what, that is really cheap now. So I clicked it in my watch list. And then I'd forgotten all about it. And then I got that thing came through where the seller makes you an offer, innit? So this came through with an offer on it, and the offer was even cheaper. So I sort of read through it again, and I thought, someone's going to buy that and break it up for parts. That one is destined for the dreaded parts bin. So I thought, right, let's have one go and try and save the old Rotel from the dreaded parts bin. Because where I'd had that offer sent through, it was the one where you can do a counter offer as well. So I thought, right, let's have one really cheeky counter offer, and if he accepts it, I will save this Rotel from the dreaded parts bin. So that's what I did. I done a really cheeky low ball counter offer and sent it. And then a couple of days later, I put the computer on, went on eBay, and I had something in my shopping basket to pay for. And I just thought, what's that in my basket? I can't remember buying nothing. And then I clicked on it, and it was this Rotel. So the man must have got sick of keep relisting this one, and he had accepted my cheeky lowball offer. And alright, I might have to buy a base pot for it, but a base pot for one of these won't be a lot of money, and that'd be easy enough to find. And it could end up having some more things wrong with it, this Rotel, so I might end up having to put some money into this one. But I really don't mind doing that, because it means that I have done my bit for the hi-fi community, and I have saved this old Rotel from the dreaded parts bin. Because I am not going to break it up, I am going to bring this Rotel back to life. Whereas someone else would have got their hands on this one and just stripped it down and broken it up for parts. But that won't be happening to this lovely old Rotel now, 'cause I will go right through it, sort it out, and give it the new lease of life that it deserves. So thank you for watching. Please hit the subscribe button, and I shall see you next time.